Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt. I do a motorcycle racing TV show called Team Chicago Challenge. My email is teamdan45@gmail.com. My website, and I got to work on my website a little bit more, is www.teamchicago.tv. And I'm doing this opening. If I get this up on YouTube, maybe, but I'm now being censored by Google and Google Drive and YouTube. So I'm probably also going to be putting this up on Rumble. So you go to Rumble, and on Rumble you would go with Dan Schmitt TV, Dan Schmitt, SCHMITT TV. On YouTube it would be Dan Schmitt Motorcycle Racing. Dan Schmitt Motorcycle Racing. So it is Thanksgiving Day 2021. We're here at the location of the first automobile race in the United States of America. On Thanksgiving Day in 1895, 6 cars started from this location, went to Evanston and back. There were 6 cars that started, 2 finished. So the first automobile race, this got to be pretty impressive, took place in Chicago. It was a Chicago newspaper that put the money up. We're on this side of the street because generally the boulder that marks it would be right over here. Now I'm going to show you a little footage from 1995, the 100th anniversary, when they put the boulder here. But what has happened is we are now looking at the location of the Obama Library. So these people, well, at least I can tell you this. I understand from talking to one of the construction guys here that the boulder was on a skid and it has been moved. I understand, talking to the contractor on this job, that the Park District has it. I called the Park District. I haven't gotten an answer yet as far as what is where the boulder is going to be relocated. We can tell where the boulder was by the, or where the start of the race was by the pictures showing the backside of the Museum of Science Industry. It wasn't a museum at that time, but this building was built for the World's Fair in 1892-93. And that building still existed, but it's been sort of rebuilt stronger. The original building wasn't as strong as this building. So now, so you think the Obama people, but see, here's the reality. These modern politicians, like the Obama people, have no recognition of the importance of the internal combustion engine or the importance of the automobile. In fact, we are living right now, his former vice president is now our president. We are now living with the worst president in the entire history of the United States. These people want to erase history. They probably wouldn't even want this stone here. They probably don't want to even talk about the automobile, because the automobile, the internal combustion engine, the automobile represents freedom. Motorcycles, more so than anything, represent freedom. So in this day and age, canceled culture, the day and age of the woke morons that are in charge nowadays. That's what we have put up with. Back in 1895, a newspaper put up $10,000 for this race because they wanted the automobile industry to come to America, to grow in America. In fact, in Henry Ford, in his memoirs, he mentioned that he was sorry that he couldn't put together the money to come to this event, because it was a year later Henry Ford built his quad cycle, which was a four-wheel gasoline-powered car that he built. So I know all about a lot of these things, but I know more about the politician thing. So when people, and it's Thanksgiving, people say, you shouldn't talk politics on Thanksgiving. No, everybody, especially nowadays, should be talking politics. We are in the worst of time. We have the worst president ever. We have the worst pope ever. But I'm an optimist. The name of my calendar company is It's a Great Year Calendar Company. So all these morons, all these imbeciles that are in charge right now still cannot change the greatness of the United States of America. So I'm going to talk to some of the people that are going to show up. We might be meeting at the back lot of the Museum of Science Industry. I'm waiting for my friend Fran to show up on his motorcycle. Pete's here, so we're gonna put something together. I'm doing this now. Bill Wildt is still alive. I don't want to say the demise of Bill Wildt, but Bill Wildt has a bad back, and for many years, from 1995, that's where I'm going to show you some footage from when they laid the rock, all the way through about 3 years ago. Bill would come here and interview everybody that showed up. He would do 3 or 4 one-hour shows from the rock. Anybody that showed up, he'd interview them and look at their cars, their motorcycles, because this is probably one of the most important motorsport events in the country, is us meeting here at the rock to celebrate the first automobile race in the United States of America. With sadness, I have to report that Bill Wildt died on November 30th, a few days after Thanksgiving. And now we're going to look at some of the footage that he shot back in 1995 when they dedicated this granite boulder.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Because it's a little bit cool still, but a beautiful day for our race, we'll have a very short program. Norman Ross is my name, and it's my real pleasure to welcome you to this 100th anniversary of the day the automobile was introduced to our country, an historic day then, an historic day now. Even Washington, you know, is observing it. The last 5 stamps that are being issued this year are all of vintage cars ranging from 1893 to 1901. At the original race, there were 83 contestants who lined up. Only 6, all equipped with a foghorn or a trumpet in order to let other vehicles or pedestrians know to get out of the way. Only 6 ended up by being in the race. They started up at the starting line. One of them ran into a horse cart in front of the Art Institute, they tell us, and another one crashed into a sleigh. And we're lucky to have with us today the great-grandson and grandson of the winner of that race. It was on a very blustery Thanksgiving morning, 100 years ago today, after a 12-inch snowfall. Only 2 of the cars, traveling at about 15 miles per hour, made the full 54-mile trip from here at almost this spot to Evanston and back again, both internal combustion vehicles. In 1945, on the 50th anniversary of the race, more than 30 vehicles turned up. Today we have more than 100. 100 participants, many of the cars dating back to the turn of the century, back at a time when there were only 150 miles of paved road outside the cities in our country. 1900, only 150 miles of paved roads outside of the cities.
On behalf of the J. Frank Duryea family, my father and my mother Marita, who are here today, we want to thank you all for turning out on such a important day in auto history. It represents a great period for the year ahead, and you're taking the time out of your Thanksgivings is a wonderful thing for us to see, and we salute you. This is an important day in auto history, and it really has been a great month for the Duryea family. We were in New York earlier this month for the unveiling of the commemorative stamp, and today's event ends the month on a real high point, and that is commemorating not only 100 years of automobile racing, but really what historians like Dr. Scharsberg and Tom Rees and some of you here who are here today recognize as the birth of the automobile industry, and really when Chicago introduced America to the automobile. It's appropriate that it is cold today, and you all know the conditions that we were faced in on the first race. We're slogging around in a bit of snow, and that terrible weather may really have been a determining factor in proving the reliability and really the viability of the automobile and the changes that it proved. We're not alone. On the 50th celebration, it was 16 degrees, so don't feel too bad. And so in the spirit of J. Frank Duryea, today should really be no different. But at this point, I feel like I should say, gentlemen, start your engines, but maybe if I can get you up here, Dad, we can unveil the plaque.
My purpose here is to try to put this race in perspective in terms of why the race and why Chicago for that race. My inclination was to really keep it short and say what was the significance of the race. Well, here it is, right here. This is a booklet prepared by Frank Duryea, and it says, when Chicago introduced the automobile to America. That's why the race. This event, more than any other event that occurred at any other time, was responsible for opening the door on the auto age. It began here. It began in Chicago. The great significance of it is precisely that. Nearly every historian, nearly every auto enthusiast dates the auto age beginning in 1895. Herman Colsatt, editor of the Chicago Times-Herald, had the idea for it from watching the race in Paris, and decided that America needed it too. He promoted it, and it started from relatively near here. And with that, I think that's enough. Just remember what Frank said a few years later, the significance of the race, when Chicago introduced the automobile to America. Thank you.
I have a proclamation to read now. Joe Caldunis, who is assistant to Virginia Rugai, an older person in Chicago, will read it to us. Joe?
Thank you. Good morning. Proclamation from Mayor Richard M. Daley of the City of Chicago, and it reads as follows. Whereas the automobile has become a major economic force in our nation, and whereas in America the automotive age dawned on a single day, Thanksgiving Day, 1895, and whereas on that day an event was held in Chicago that truly introduced the automobile, a motor contest, to America, and sparked a transportation revolution that continues today, and whereas, because of a singular importance of this event, a volunteer committee of individuals has formed a not-for-profit Illinois corporation, the American Auto Sports Centennial Incorporated, to coordinate the centennial celebration. Beginning on August 1995, and culminating on Thanksgiving Day, the 100th day period has been selected as the official celebration period. 100 days for 100 years. And whereas the American Auto Sports Centennial Executive Committee will hold its centennial celebration of Chicago's historic 1895 auto race on November 23rd, 1995, and the Midway Plaisance, and whereas the 100th day celebration will be celebrated with events reflecting the theme to commemorate the 1895 event, when Chicago introduced the automobile to America. The program features cultural and educational activities and a reenactment tour. Now, therefore, I, Richard M. Daley, Mayor of the City of Chicago, do hereby proclaim November 23rd, 1995, to be the American Auto Sports Centennial Day in Chicago, and urge all citizens to be cognizant of the events arranged for this time. Dated this 15th day of November, 1995, and signed Richard M. Daley, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. As we look at a few photos from that race in 1895, Thanksgiving Day, you can see the snow on the ground, 6 cars ready to depart and head towards Evanston. Back in 2018, I had the opportunity to talk to Mason Maynard, who was the participant at the event in 1995.
My name is Mason Maynard, and I happened to hear that they were going to recreate the Times Herald race. I had already put my cars away, and a buddy of mine came in from Texas, and he was going to drive one of my cars, and I drove the other one, and by chance the Duriers ended up riding with me. The grandson and the great-grandson, they were both older than I was.
So what was the day like?
It was colder than hell, windy. The event was extremely poorly organized, and it was absolutely hilarious going down to the host hotel downtown, because the hotel did not have any idea how rough 1- and 2-cylinder cars are on any area that they're in. The entire parking lot was covered with oil, coolant, this, that, and the other. Most of the cars didn't run worth a damn. A lot of guys brought them in from Michigan and Minnesota. I don't care, guys, if you Minnesota and Michigan guys want to hear it, but as far as I'm concerned, most of your cars didn't run worth a damn. Well, of course, my cars were a number of years newer than yours. But at any rate, it was a good time, and I ended up changing cars and picking up parts from the transaxle from a car that blew the transaxle not too far from where we're standing at here right now, and I insisted on picking up the parts and putting them in the trunk of my Stutz, because I knew that was how that transaxle was going to be rebuilt. Of the 4 car guys that were very active in Chicago as far as for getting cars when they built the Dan Ryan in here and whatnot, there's one of those guys left alive today, and his name is Bob Neidham. And Bob Neidham hung out with many car guys. All the other ones are dead. Dr. Flywheel, whose real name is Don Mates. Paul Hedburn, Don Donahue, Charlie Fabian, and to a man, those guys had a lifetime of playing with cars, and if they were, most of them would be between 95 to, yeah, they'd probably be about 95 if they were alive today.
Thank you, Mason. My good friend, Fran Koch, showed up on his BMW. Earlier this morning, him and a couple other motorcyclists gathered here, and they went and rode the original route as close as they could figure out that the race took place in 1895. Let's see what Fran has got to say.
Someday we'll do it again, and we'll count all of those and say to ourselves, I can't believe we hit every red light. In any case, it's a beautiful day, 45 degrees, pretty good day to be out for a motorcycle ride. Didn't have to plug in the electrics. And I guess I'm the only guy that made the effort to get down here and see Dan and represent our club.
So 2 of you guys, you and another guy, made it all the way there and all the way back here, right?
Well, that's correct, and there may have been 2 guys that came through that we were separated from. I don't know where they went, but I didn't see them after we got separated. There's some sort of event going on in Lincoln Park, and we got separated, and that's the way it goes.
So coming back, let me ask you this. Was I correct by saying that took Western Avenue back to Belmont, and made a right at Belmont, went to Milwaukee Avenue then, and then headed south?
Well, actually, the route we took was a lot more serpentine than that.
Mm-hmm.
We did not take very much. I don't think we were on Western Avenue for hardly any of it. And we went the opposite way that the racers went. We went out to Western Avenue and went north, and from there we came back through the park and Lakeshore Drive and all of that to get back.
Oh, okay.
We figured the end of our ride would be a lot more entertaining if we could come down Lakeshore Drive. The city, I'm going to say, woke up around 8:30 in the morning, and there was enough pedestrians, bicyclists, dog walkers, people pushing strollers, and the usual traffic started building up. So I was very grateful to get back to Lakeshore Drive and be able to cruise along a little bit.
Yeah, but there was no Lakeshore Drive back in...
Oh, no, we didn't get really on Lakeshore Drive until we were almost at North Avenue.
Right. So we should point out that 6 cars started this event. 2 of them were electric, and only 2 finished, and none of the electric ones finished. So I think that's where the future of America is going to be. They're going to get everybody to have electric cars, and there will be no electricity for them.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. There'll be some people out there like Dan and myself that if we can't get gasoline, we'll be brewing our own alcohol and running them on that.
That's right. Because you can make alcohol from nearly anything. In fact, the first diesel engines that were shown at the St. Louis Fair were running on peanut oil.
I wouldn't doubt it. If it burns and it flows, we'll probably run it. Hot tar, if we get down to it.
All right, tell me about your bike.
My bike is a 2005 BMW GS 1200. It's been to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. It's been up and down the Mid-Atlantic Back Road Discovery route. It's been to any place where I can get it dirty. And if it rains, it gets cleaner. Other than that, it's got 130,000 miles on it. I'm going to be turning, I bought it with 40,000 on it, so I'll have my own 100,000 miles on it probably next season, fairly early, I hope. And it's been an entertaining bike when I'm not swearing at it.
Thank you, Fran. As we look at a couple pictures of the 2 cars that finished this race and the route from here to Evanston that Fran just rode this morning. In 2016, I had a conversation with Bill Wildt.
Well, as we do every year down here at the Rock, I ended up finishing up with my old friend Dan Schmitt. Dan, tell the folks who you are, where you're from.
I'm from Chicago. I live in Chicago. I've been in Chicago my entire life, and I do a TV show called Team Chicago Challenge. I should point out that this is 30 years I've been doing the show. I've done 1,328 shows, and mainly 90% is all motorcycle related, motorcycle racing, a lot of motorcycle racing.
Because all kidding aside, you're proud of Chicago.
Yeah, I'm proud of Chicago when it used to be the greatest industrial city in the nation. It used to have, in fact, in 1970, there was 400,000 manufacturing jobs in Chicago. We built everything in Chicago, and the statement was, if you couldn't make it in Chicago, you couldn't make it anywhere else. So Chicago was always a very great city.
Yeah, it is. In fact, I know when my family moved to Chicago in 1955, and we came here because my father was looking for work. We're originally from upstate New York, and there just isn't any work there. And he came to Chicago. My grandmother on my mother's side lived in Chicago, so he stopped in Chicago, and he just couldn't believe it. The newspaper ads, page after page after page, and in 3 days he had a better job than he had in upstate New York.
Right. I mean, like we're here behind the Museum of Science and Industry. This was the site of the World's Fair in 1893. And then they came back and built they had the World's Fair again in 1933. And Chicago was the center of everything in this country. And then, but I think they've lost their way in the last few years. The beauty of the Rock, not only its first automobile race ever in the United States, but the people that, like the MG guys, they've been here from the beginning, and
the Corvette guys are getting that way too.
And the Corvette guys too.
North Shore Corvette Club.
It's one of these little deals. I mean, if I was mayor of Chicago, I'd have a monument here. I'd have washrooms here. I would be here if I was the mayor.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. Now, where's Rauner? He's the motorcycle guy.
Who was the one politician that came down here?
Danny Davis.
Danny Davis.
That's
Danny
right.
Davis come here as a
That's
nice man, and he was interested in
Danny Davis.
Congressman Danny
and
Davis.
He was interested in
and
what
he was
we were
really
doing.
interested. Yeah, he really was. What I would do if I were the city, this is because it's an important historical site for people involved with motorsports, and you have to understand that NASCAR built a speedway in Joliet, the Chicagoland Speedway. It draws 100,000 spectators every year. If they knew they could just drive a little bit north to Chicago and take their picture with their car by the monument, the Rock, that identifies the start and finish of America's first auto race, I would bet 3/4 of them would come up here to get that picture. So what you need here is all of this should be cobblestone around here. All cobblestone where people are encouraged to bring their cars up.
And if someone did it and you put your name on the car, how many people would pay?
Hey, exactly.
So it wouldn't cost taxpayer anything, but because...
No, but think it doesn't go. If you bring... I said 3/4 of people come up here. Let's say 60,000 people.
Right.
You bring 60. You know how much money they drop off coming up here?
Yes.
They stop and eat. They get gas and everything.
The
museum's right down the street.
Right.
Oh, I mean, it's a natural. And why they haven't picked up? 21 years I've been doing this.
It's just you and me, Bill.
It's just you and me, buddy. So, but that's okay. I don't give up easy, and neither do you.
I will always have fond memories of Bill Wildt, and his TV show will live on. The library in Franklin Park will start putting his show online. All of his shows, over 1,400. He will be missed. He was a great friend. Contact me. It's teamdan45@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from my audience. Remember, you can always search on YouTube with Dan Schmitt Motorcycle Racing. And I highly encourage you to visit the World of Motorcycle Museum, Winamac, Indiana. Just off Indiana 39, 4 miles south of North Judson. Give them a call at 574-896-3172 for more info. And call them first. It's a great collection of motorcycles and a great trip.